Welcome to the Silverbridge CPA's Summer Speaker Series. We hope you enjoy this message.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Silverbridge CPA's Summer Speaker Series. My name is Brittany Williams. We are very fortunate to have financial coach and money manager, Kara Rasmussen, here with us today. Kara is going to help us discover a path and plan for each step towards financial security using the financial wheel, and show us the top 5 behaviors that are holding us back from our financial goals, along with the top 5 behaviors we should make a habit so we can achieve our financial goals. I'll introduce her shortly, but just a few items to go over first. If you haven't already, please be sure to mute yourself. You can do so by clicking the little microphone in your top right corner of your screen. It looks like everybody is. Perfect. Okay. And then this presentation is being recorded. So if you don't want to be visually seen in it, go ahead and turn your camera off. You will see next to the mic, there's a little camera button, and you can just hit that as well. And then as Kara is presenting to us, you are welcome to type any of your questions into the chat feature. And then at the end, we'll go through and read those and get to as many questions as possible. And then if, we're able to get through all the ones that are written, we'll open it up as well. And you can just, raise your hand or unmute yourself and ask the question. With that said, I will introduce our speaker. Kara is a financial coach for a variety of clients and service-based entrepreneurs. Kara helps people create a workable path and plan for their money and financial security, going beyond simply funding retirement accounts. She completes each and every step to secure your finances through coaching and tools training. Money management involves a combination of sound financial advice, validating your decisions from a place of clarity and feeling right, and ensuring you are treated with confidentiality and free of judgments. Kara has a BS in accounting from BSU and stepped out of corporate America to work for a consulting firm, coaching business owners, and soon after started her money management and coaching company, Changekeepers. All right, Kara, I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. I'm excited that you're all here. Like you said, I'm Kara Rasmussen, and I am a financial coach for my company, Changekeepers. And I have the pleasure of helping people complete every single task to create financial security. And when I begin working with someone, I always ask them, if I had a magic wand and you get 3 financial wishes, what would they be? And they usually answer something along the lines of pay off debt, have an emergency account, be able to travel, be able to retire, and so on. And then I ask them, why do you want these things? What's missing from your life right now? And what would change because you now suddenly have those things? And it almost always comes down to these 3 things. And I'm going to share them with you with my little screen share. Leave you all in suspense. What are they? Can everybody see this okay? Oh, it doesn't look like it's screen shared. Hold on 1 second. Share. There we go. Okay. It comes down to these 3 things. I want security, I want freedom, I want clarity. And this is what is desperately missing from their financial life. Security, freedom, and clarity. So security, they want to eliminate stress and worry. They want to sleep well at night, knowing all financial obligations are covered. They want to know they are safe. And freedom, they want to be able to make healthy and informed financial choices. They want the ability to have wiggle room and spontaneity in their spending decisions, and that does not in turn create financial harm. And finally, clarity. They are craving knowledge of where their money is going and what they have. What amount of money they can spend freely and effortlessly and still be healthy. What do they even need to do to be financially secure? So at the end of the day, all of us humans are craving these three things to be at peace and happy with our finances: security, freedom, clarity. So today, I would love to share with you the top 5 behaviors that I have found through many, many willing participants that derail you from being able to create these three things: security, freedom, and clarity with your money. And then I would also like to share with you the behaviors that then enhance your security, freedom, and clarity with your money and finances. So let's go. Without further ado, here are the top 5 money behaviors to avoid if you want to achieve, again, security, freedom, and clarity. And they are: number 1, swooping; number 2, guesstimating; number 3, tempting; number 4, cluttering; and number 5, waiting. So I'm sure you're all good. No explanations necessary. We can just move on. Probably not. Probably need to go in a little bit deeper. Okay, so number 1, swooping. How many of you with kids and projects and mail tend to see a beautiful and sparkling clean surface like a kitchen table, and then everything goes on top of it that doesn't necessarily belong there? The backpacks go there, the homework goes there, the mail goes there. Everything that doesn't have a home that you're going to temporarily place there ends up on the kitchen table. And when you have a miracle point in time and the universe aligns and you decide to have a family dinner and it wants to be, I don't know, on the kitchen table, it's cluttered with everyone's stuff. So you propose doing what I call the swoop. You get a box, maybe it's a trash can, maybe it's the floor, and you swoop everything off the kitchen table. And voila, instantly, it's a Christmas miracle. You have a clean kitchen table and you can have dinner and you have an amazing time and you vow, oh my gosh, we're gonna do this all the time. We're gonna keep this kitchen table clean. We're gonna do this tomorrow night. However, what happens the next day, maybe a couple minutes later? The kids come home from school and bam, the backpacks are back on the kitchen table. And the homework is back on the kitchen table. Oh, and the mail just got tossed there too. And I feel like doing a puzzle. We never do puzzles. Let's do a puzzle. And that's on the kitchen table. When you get fed up with something that's causing you pain, discomfort, financially, and you in one fell swoop get rid of it, 99% of the time, it comes right back within a week or a month, because no systems or tools or behavior changes occurred. It's what I call an inauthentic change or inauthentic behavior. Authentic change involves tools, systems, monitoring, refining, and using that thing that you detest so much as fuel to elevate your financial life. So for example, paying off credit card debt with a HELOC is a swoop. Paying off credit card debt with a loan from your IRA is a swoop. And here's what happens when you do a swoop financially. Let's say you had $10,000 of credit card debt and you paid that off with your HELOC. So now you have a $10,000 HELOC and it feels amazing. You feel like you made progress and you slowly start to, just like with the kitchen table, charge a few things on the credit card that you for sure will pay off. And then the balance is next month, and the balance is there next month. And that starts to build and build. And then you now have $10,000 of credit card debt and a $10,000 HELOC. You've doubled the debt because of the swoop. Getting an inheritance is a swoop. Winning the lottery is a swoop. This is why most people who win the lottery are exactly back to their original financial status a few years later. So instead of the swoop, your path to security, freedom, and clarity is work. Work, for the most part, is not effortless. Work involves being uncomfortable. Work takes effort, planning, and systems. Work takes a conscious effort. Work means installing backpack hooks in the laundry room and then encouraging your kids to go hang their backpacks up there instead of putting them on the kitchen table. Work means planning meals in order to reduce food costs. Work means spending consciously, adhering to a budget, and being aware. So instead of swooping, we want working. Swooping becomes working. The next money behavior to avoid is guesstimating. And we're going to start with another non-money example. How great were the invention of stretch jeans, or what I call pajama jeans? Does anybody remember how horribly uncomfortable jeans used to be? There was absolutely no fudging your size whatsoever. However, with all the stretch they put in there, you can fake yourself into believing you're 2 sizes smaller and even gain weight and increase 2 sizes bigger, but your jeans pretty much stay the same exact size. You can go on a 2-week vacation and eating frenzy and fit perfectly into your jeans when you get back. Because who needs a scale when you stay exactly the same size? So financially speaking, wearing pajama jeans is having no clue on your financial weight or net worth. How much debt do you have? What interest rate is on your student loan? How much does your spouse bring home? How much did that 2-week vacation and eating frenzy cost you? Knowing your financial health status, taking control of your finances, having clarity on everything you own and everything you owe is putting yourself in a powerful position. All elevation and empowerment with your money and finances begins with clarity and measuring. One of the things I ask my clients to do in our first few sessions is to guesstimate your discretionary spending for an average month. And they give me a number. And then I go through and analyze 3 months of data, going through all the bank accounts, all the credit cards, and I only add up the smaller choice-driven expenditures. And it always, and I mean always, is a number that is thousands of dollars higher than the guesstimate. So instead of guesstimating, we want to explore actual measuring. Measuring. It's not guesstimating, measuring. You need to know where you are starting and what you have so you can measure and know if you're moving towards the financial life that you want and desire. The next money behavior to avoid is tempting. And I have yet another non-money example to dazzle and delight you with. I have a weakness, and it's pretty much all things dessert, chocolate, and Oreos. In fact, I think Oreos needs its own special category. And my kids have begged me to buy the good desserts and quit buying these like mediocre sweets. And I giggle to them and I say, Mom works from home, so even if I bought the good stuff like Oreos, when you come home from school, there's not going to be anything there anyway. So it really doesn't matter if I buy them or not. At Halloween, my kids write pleading notes and put them on their Halloween candy saying, "Mom, please don't eat my candy. I'm kind of horrible." There is no way I could be the mom that has the cute cookie jar on the kitchen counter with actual cookies inside. When I work from home, that's just way too easy, tempting, and convenient. Now, you may or may not be good with a bag of fresh Oreos in your house. However, having a credit card with a spending limit well above your ideal monthly allotment might be way too much temptation. Or having an easy peasy HELOC with transferability, again, might be way too easy and too tempting. And continually telling yourself you're getting miles and points and free money with your cards that are absolutely your financial Oreo makes it too tempting to charge more and gorge yourself with spending. Buying furniture on a 12-month, same as cash payment plan is also too tempting. Fun fact, I have a friend that used to work for one of the big furniture stores here in town. And he shared with me that the entire facility, the entire payroll is funded not by furniture sales when it's a business that sells furniture. They make the bulk of their money on people who fail to pay the furniture in the no interest time frame. They know you are highly likely to eat the Oreo. So instead of tempting yourself, we want to create a barrier for the behavior you're trying to avoid. Using a checking account with a debit card and only putting in your ideal monthly allotment of spending in the account creates a hard limit for your spending. Consistently going over your spending zone gives you anxiety and regret when the credit card bill arrives. So instead, create hurdles, barricades, and gauntlets for the money you don't want to spend, rather than making it so easy peasy and effortless to spend unconsciously. So instead of tempting, we want barricading. We are barricading. Let's see, yeah, 2 R's. Barricading. The next money behavior to avoid is cluttering. Not only can you create disorganization around closets, kitchen tables, your email inbox, junk drawers, you can totally create clutter around your money management. For example, having bank accounts at more than one bank, using a couple of checking accounts and a couple of credit cards for your discretionary spending, receiving paper statements for all 13 bank accounts and not putting things on auto pay. And this last one might be a surprise. However, tracking your spending into too many categories is also cluttering your finances. What I coach is keep it simple. Use one bank and no more than 4 bank accounts. In fact, I highly recommend exactly that, 4 bank accounts. Oops. Which are these 4 right here. We have one account for emergency savings, and you'd use that account for emergencies. One account for larger purchases that you save up for, like travel, like furniture that you don't finance. One account for discretionary, where smaller choice-driven expenditures are compiled and are housed in one account for easy measuring. And then one account where all of your either your business distributions or paychecks come into, and all of your fixed recurring that are now on auto pay are withdrawn. Let's not clutter the discretionary account with category tracking. Just one account for one item, discretionary, one lump sum. And you fund it on the first of every month with your ideal allotment of discretionary. And if you ever one day wanted to see the details of how much you spent on gas and groceries and eating out and entertainment, it's in just one account. So you can download the details to a spreadsheet, sort it by vendor, sort it by amount, sort it by a date range, and all of your details are there if you ever wanted to see those. So instead of cluttering, we want simplifying. Simplifying. Our last money behavior to avoid is waiting. If you want to plant a tree, does anyone know the best time to plant a seed? The best time is 20 years ago. Does anyone know the second best time to plant a seed? It's today. It's taking action now. I'd love to share with you a financial example, why it's so important to start planting your seed now and taking action today and not waiting another moment longer. This is a slide from a presentation that I do to a company that I talk to their interns and coach them on why it's important to start investing. So if you were to start investing in your 20s and you have a starting salary, let's say, of like $35,000 a year, a lot of medium to larger size businesses that I've seen in working with people typically have a company match of around 4%. So in this example, we're going to assume you're in that category. We're also going to assume a very conservative rate of return on your investments of 8%. The S&P 500 right now for like the last 10 years has been just over 10%. So this is for the long term, well beyond 10 years, 8%, again, in this example is being very, very conservative. As well as in this example, I'm showing a compounding of annually. You can compound monthly, you can compound quarterly. The most conservative for this example is compounding annually. So if at 21 years old, you got your first official job with benefits and company match, and you started investing 4% of your salary so that you could get the full 4% matching, and that would require an annual investment of $1,400. So again, in this example, I'm assuming you never contribute more than $1,400 a year. You can get raises, you can earn more money, but you still just contribute $1,400 a year into your 30s, into your 40s until retirement. If you did that with a very conservative rate of return of 8% compounding annually, you will have $1 million in retirement. What a lot of people do, however, is when they're in their 20s, they justify that they have a very low salary, retirement is so far away, I'll just start in my 30s. What's the big deal? It's just 10 years. I'll make more money. I'll invest more. What's the big deal? So if you start investing 4% of your salary at 31 years old and you have the company match, you would then have $440,000 in retirement. Your retirement is more than cut in half just by waiting 10 years. Now, if you want that $1 million in retirement and you start at age 31, you have to, from 31, again, until retirement, not save 4%, you have to save 18%. If you started when you're 21, your net out of pocket for all of those years to get $1 million is about $61,000. If you wait until you're 31, your net out of pocket to get that $1 million is $214,000. So it just shows if you wait until you're 40, you wait until you're 50, this number just gets exponential. So the lesson here is don't wait, start. We want to replace waiting with starting. But to recap, the money behaviors to avoid if you want to reach, again, financial security, freedom, clarity that I've seen time and time again of working with many, many people, is we want to replace swooping with working, guesstimating with measuring, tempting with barricading, cluttering with simplifying, and waiting with starting. And you'll absolutely will feel secure with your finances. I totally understand that these 5 money behaviors to apply are simple and not necessarily easy. Simple does not mean easy. I think most of us can agree how to lose weight is simple. Eat low sugar food, eat nutrient-rich food, cook your food so you know what's going into your food, do cardio, lift weights. It's simple. However, it's not necessarily easy to find the time, the motivation, the energy, and working through your emotional attachment to food. It's not easy. So people try it on their own, and a lot of times hire a personal trainer to get them going, to hold them accountable, and help them work through their emotional eating. If you find implementing the 5 healthy financial behaviors are simple and super not easy, this is where hiring a financial coach will help. Everyone here can, at any point in time, can check out my website, which is changekeepers.com, or you can email me, Kara@changekeepers.com, and we can schedule an introductory call and review your biggest money concerns and how we can start, not wait. So I'd love to open it up to any specific questions that anybody has.
Thank you, Kara. That was really, really good information. And I definitely fall victim to all of them. We do have a couple questions in the chat, so I can read those. And I was told that I'm being really echoey. I tried to fix it. Apparently I didn't fix it. So bear
There's
with
no
me.
echo from where I'm sitting.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. All right. Well, the first one says, it sounds like you're advocating for no credit cards at all, which I've also heard from other financial experts. But let's say you do already have credit card debt. What is your suggestion on paying those down? Highest amount on the card first, or the card with the highest interest? And then should you pay credit card debt before creating a good savings, or vice versa? Like, kind of what's, if you're already in this spot,
yeah,
where should you go?
So to address the first question, do I not think there's a place for credit cards whatsoever? That is a no. It's only when credit cards are your Oreo. That's why I use that example. There are people that can have Oreos in their pantry and be like, I'm just going to eat one once a week. I have no idea how they do that. It's just if credit cards are your Oreo. So you can try it out. If you do your analysis and you get to what you feel like, you work with a coach like me, or you sit down together with somebody and you go, okay, our healthy spending is $4,000 a month on discretionary, whatever your number is. and you go, we're going to watch the credit card and we're not going to exceed it. Just like I can say, I'm only going to eat 1 Oreo a day. I already know it's not going to work. Never works. So if you find like, oh, our credit card say it was 5,000. Oh, now next month it's 6,000. Oh, next month it's 4,100. It's an Oreo. You've just got to first create the hard boundary. Eventually, maybe you can start using a credit card. But if it is your Oreo, no, no, no. If you're fine with it, if all you needed was somebody to say, I just didn't know what my healthy number was. Now that you tell me, I have the discipline to monitor it. I use a credit card. The credit cards and spending is not my lane. Actually, it's food. Food truly is my lane. I need help there. But I create those barricades. Okay, so to answer that, that's no. It's you can use a credit card if it's not your Oreo. To get it paid off, as far as like, where do I place that? I do really see the most success with the snowball approach, where you take the credit card with the lowest balance and we tackle that one first, because there's just something about the emotion of getting rid of one credit card and getting rid of a second credit card, even if they have a lower interest rate than the bigger balance. Emotions, just like with the Oreo thing, emotions are stronger than logic. So even though you go logically like, oh, this balance is bigger and has the bigger credit card rate or interest rate, I'm going to do it. Emotions win. So I like to kind of lean into that in the most healthiest way.
Okay.
I do like to kind of do like a balance though. I like you to get about like a $1,000 to $5,000 emergency account first, get that build up, and then we'll switch over to the credit cards, because I want you to get out of the behavior of putting emergencies on your credit card. I want you to be able to be like, oh, I have an emergency account, I'm using that. So we're building behaviors as well as tackling the debt.
Okay, that's great. Perfect. And then the second question we've got here is, if you're married, would you recommend 4 bank accounts each or 4 bank accounts total for the both of you? So joint bank accounts.
Yeah. So those would be total together. That again is the simplest. I always like simple, but again, what wins out are emotions. So what I do when I'm coaching is I go, here's what I found works the best. Here's what I think is the simplest. This is what has longevity. And you get to take that all in and go, yeah, no, that's not going to work for us. I can't share a discretionary account with my husband. I would need my own. And that's totally okay.
Yeah.
We want to take it down to the most simple that actually works for you. So what I do highly recommend though, if it's possible, and again, it's only if it's possible, and we'll talk about whether it is or isn't, you know, with if you were doing coaching, is you would have all of your fixed shared accounts or fixed recurring, like the rent or the mortgage, the utilities, those kind of things out of one account, and maybe have separate discretionary. That's usually about the only one I encourage you to do if you do need some sort of like separate. And even that, again, you talk about what that number is that's healthy for both of you. But for the most part, it's one emergency, one, I call it the machine account for the fixed recurring, one save up for bigger purchases that you're both talking about. You allocate the fund. I mean, I guess that could be a separate one as well. I just haven't, that's just not as common. It's usually the discretionary is the one that they want separate.
Okay, great. One other question came up, which is, oh, a couple more actually. Great. Let's see here. Can you define an emergency for emergency account spending?
Yes. So emergencies are larger emergencies that were completely not on your radar and kind of just like came out of nowhere. So for example, if you know you need new tires and you keep putting it off and then bam, you need the new tires, that's not an emergency. That's something we want to save up for that we know is coming. A copay at a doctor that's like $100, that's part of discretionary. Discretionary is not only choice driven, it's just smaller life expenses, comes out of discretionary. It's when you have, probably it kind of depends on your income, but somewhere in the neighborhood between 300 and 500 and above, where it's completely unpredictable. So like your hot water heater breaks and you need to replace that, or it's a car repair they had no idea was coming, or a bigger medical expense. That's what comes out of emergency.
Okay. Let's see here.
The other thing that's really nice about having an emergency account is when you're not worried about emergencies, when you have a fully funded emergency account, which is 3 to 6 months of liquid living expenses, you tend to just energetically repel emergencies because you're not worried about them. When you're constantly worried about them, you tend to attract them. And not only does it, usually when you fill it up, it's kind of a miracle because you're like, I don't even need it. Because the emergencies tend to dissipate. It's a win-win.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. But I believe it. Let's see. We've got another question that says, which I believe you're okay with this, but can we get a copy of the retirement slide?
Yes.
All of my kids are in their 20s and I want to impress upon them how important this is. So
Absolutely. Yep. I'll
Okay.
send you all the slides.
Okay, perfect. And then what about fuel expense? Do you treat it as discretionary? What if you start
Yes.
running low in that fund and then need to drive somewhere?
So again, we're going to try to keep things as simple as possible. If you have an element that, because it doesn't seem like fuel is like an overspend kind of Oreo. It's just that the price of fuel goes up. It's not like we all go, oh, I can't wait to put fuel in my car. I'm so excited. I keep overdoing it because I can't wait. I wake up and I want to go put fuel in my car. That's what we're trying to like prevent with the discretionary, having a hard limit, are those things that you tend to kind of go over with, like clothing or eating out or entertainment or gifts or whatever that is. So we're putting in there your healthy amount that you have to live on. So we're not like squeaking the discretionary down to like 2,000 a month and you spend 1,000 a month on gas. Obviously that discretionary number is going to be higher, but we want to, first we try it as simple as possible and go, okay, we're putting everything in here and know it's like a higher number because gas is higher. But if you're finding like you're at the gas tank and it's empty, then this isn't so much, we can't go quite so simple right out of the gate. So we might have to have you, maybe just put gas on the credit card because we know you're not going to go crazy buying gas, and put the rest of your discretionary on that, and you pay off that credit card that only has, let's say, gas and groceries on it with the discretionary account at the end of the month. But we can I always kind of customize, again, with this, 45-minute workshop, I can just go, here's what sort of works best. And then the little nuances, you come together with like coaching and things like that. But yeah, that's, if we have to keep that in a separate account, we can temporarily, but we want to eventually, you are in the financial health zone when you everything is just so effortless and you've worked through your emotions that are creating the extra spending or just the education of what you didn't know. You're able to, I see this time and time again, you're able to put that all on either one card or one account, the gas, the groceries, the everything, because it's the same amount every single month. It doesn't matter that it's summer. It doesn't matter that it's Christmas time, because Christmas time comes out of that special savings account for things that you save up for. Your discretionary stays the same. It doesn't matter what month it is, because if in the summer you spend more and you travel, again, that's going in that other account. Your gas, groceries, clothing, food stays the same every month, and you'll start to adapt and to adhere to what that sort of healthy number is.
Got it. Okay. We've got another question here that says, what tips would you recommend for teenagers on budgeting? Budgeting and managing their money. Would you recommend having the 4 different accounts for teenagers with jobs?
Close. I have teenagers do 3 accounts. If they have fixed expenses, they could probably get away with about 2. But I want you as parents, one of the things I do in the coaching is I do have great tips and tools for kiddos and what you want to teach them with their money. But first of all, I encourage you to start giving them an allowance that's probably more than you want to give them, but you're letting them make decisions and start to do things on their own rather than you do it. So if they go to like the movies and they used to come to you for money, you're giving them that money again at the first of the month and letting them make their own choices throughout the month. Again, I'd have that attached to some sort of behavior, like they're helping mow the lawn. You could have attached to grades. I mean, it's attached to something. And then you're empowering them to make, honestly, hopefully, some poor financial choices, because you want them to learn from their mistakes while you can still sort of rescue them and help them and teach them, rather than just go, okay, you're 18 or you're 21 and you're out of the house, good luck. And then they make a mistake and then they come to you, or they completely start to rack up all this credit card debt. You want them to know what it feels like to go put gas in their car and they're out of money and go, oh, Mom, Dad, I'm out of money. Like, and that horrible, embarrassing feeling, like you want that to be imprinted in them, and then talk to them and coach them on like what it means, what happened. Let's talk about, okay, here's what we're going to do differently next time. So really, you want them to have one account that is their savings. So they're saving up for something big. A lot of times it's their first car. And what I also encourage is, if you can finance it, I like to do dollar for dollar matching, just like that retirement matching with the employer, in that account for something that you approve of. And again, most of the time it's a car. So every time they put 100 in, you put 100 in. I wait for some number that's kind of larger, not like just dollar. It's like, okay, I've got 100, I'm going to put it in savings. Mom, Dad, match it. You make it a really big deal. And then it's so empowering when they go buy their first vehicle, they've bought it. They prioritize it more. They feel more empowered. They love that feeling, and they've learned how to save up for something. And then their other account is just their smaller, choice driven. It's their discretionary. It's gas for their car, it's eating out, and those type of things. So I really like to have at least those two accounts.
That's great. Okay, we've got another one here. Once you've filled your emergency account, do you stop contributing to it? Or do you continue to put that allotment to another account to keep the quote unquote habit?
No. So once it's filled, it's over, because we want you to get the biggest bang for your buck. Having money in just liquid form, although we're kind of at a weird point of time because interest rates are so ridiculously high right now. Normally you would get like 0.001% on a savings account, whereas now you can get over 4%. So it's kind of like, it's kind of the time of life we're in. But for the most part, keeping your money liquid and in a savings account is the worst way to purpose your money. So we only want to do that 3 to 6 months, and everything else we want working for you. So we either want to put it towards that vacation, because if you have a fully funded emergency account, your retirement is great, you started young, everything is in alignment. There's nothing that says now you have to go be like super financially healthy if that's not what you want. It's just like, I kind of coach people to be like fit and healthy for, you know, the average human. And if you want to go be like a bodybuilder on a stage competing, like that's a different level of financial fitness, and you could totally do that. But I am totally good with, if I do all my measurement, we look at what you're doing, we look at when you retire, and you have got extra, do some of the things, the big things that you really, really enjoy doing. And again, filling up that emergency account, not with a swoop, but with that time and action and behavior. It's not like turned off with a switch. It's the work you remember to put in there when you have the emergency. It's very easy to re-engage that. Just like if you've been like at your healthy weight for like 10 years and you do go on that vacation and you wear real jeans, not pajama jeans, you're like, oh my gosh, I gained like 5 pounds. You can very easily shed those 5 pounds. You just can if you've held your weight for 10 years. You knew what you were doing. So same thing. I like you to have your money either in real estate or investments, or working towards your goals that you want to do in life.
Okay, we've got another question here that says, what are your thoughts on paying off credit card debt by doing a balance transfer to another credit card that has 0% interest for blank amount of months?
So does anybody remember the presentation I just gave? What does that sound like? Swooping. Swooping. So, I mean, you can do it. We're not necessarily creating new debt unless you only had one credit card and now you have 2 credit cards. What's going to typically happen is if you, again, it's the Oreo thing. If you just open up more and more ways to get to Oreos, it's just highly, highly likely you're going to spend more. So again, if having credit card debt is not your Oreo and you're totally disciplined and you do that like transfer, like this was like the most unforeseeable emergency ever that happened, and you normally were fit and like maybe you went through something like a divorce or something like totally different in your life, and that's what created this credit card debt, and you're just wanting to put it in a lower interest medium for a while you build up the reserves to pay it off, and you know exactly what to do. Yes, totally healthy. But for the most part, it feels like you did something amazing. That pain that you feel with paying 20% plus interest on the credit card debt is the fuel that you need to get rid of it. If you get rid of that pain, you get rid of the fuel. Just like with like clothing, if you had like this cute, like those girls, like if you had this like cute little cocktail dress you needed to get into and you had a little bit of a pooch and you're like, I have to wear it. And you're like, oh, you put on Spanx. Look, the pooch is gone. You sort of lose the motivation that was going to take. Like you want whatever thing that you absolutely hate and detest to be the fuel to get rid of it. That's what works for like financial health.
Okay, we've got one other question here. If you're buying a new car, do you recommend a car loan or a 401k loan? Or would this all fall into your savings or you're like not a loan?
Yeah, it's kind of the plant the tree thing. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago, if you want a tree. When's the best way to buy a car? 5 years ago, you started saving up for the car that you wanted to buy. Like, right, that's the healthiest. So what's the next best thing? Because we all need cars. This is where I go, okay, I'm totally good with mortgage debt. To me, that's like healthy debt. That's not something, well, there are times when you actually can't afford a house and having a house is harm, but can't go into every detail. But for the most part, having a home and a mortgage isn't what I consider bad debt. The car one, don't love a car loan. I try to like encourage, like, let's not do that. Okay, what is always 100% bad is a loan from your retirement account. Because I think you only have like a very short period of time to pay it back, and you still have to pay penalties and interest for doing that. But if you don't, now it's taxable income, plus you pay interest and penalties. That is like a ginormous interest rate, and you never want to do that. And again, it's a bit of a swoop. So having a car loan, I always like to do just 3 years or less, only that. And that's the car you can afford, truly, if you want to be financially fit. All I can do is give people this advice and go, okay, you're doing something that's not financially fit. And they go, okay, well, I'm going to do it anyway. I go, okay, as long as you understand, this is not a financially healthy move. You get to do it anyway. And we're not perfect. Like, I'm not perfect with my food. We're not perfect with everything. It's just, as a coach, I'm going to start to go, okay, and we're doing a bunch of credit cards, and we're doing a 5-year car loan, and we're going to go, on this trip next week, and we're not saving. Like, this is when I have to look like the whole picture and go, okay, are you doing everything perfect and you're going to go get a 5-year car loan? Fine. That's where you have to kind of decide what you're going to do. But yeah, car loan, not an IRA loan.
Got it. That was a great explanation. Does anybody else have any questions? We've gone through all the ones that were written in the chat. You can just unmute yourself if you do.
I have a question. This is CG.
Hi, CG.
Give me your take on a reverse mortgage.
Yeah.
That's a loaded question right there, isn't it, dear? Sorry.
Can I say it depends? I mean, it's one of those things. It's like the car loan. I don't love it. I would really like us to be in a place where you live in your home and it's paid off and you have reserves and retirement and you don't need to do that. It's just kind of, I want to say it's not always bad. It's not always good. It's kind of what you want in life at the end. If you want to be like, okay, I don't have anyone to leave any assets to, I know by the time that this is like tapped out, I'm probably not going to be here anymore. Is it that bad? No, it's not. I just don't love it. But again, I'll coach a person through the pros and cons. And if I don't have like serious energy on how horrible a decision is, oops, I don't know why that popped up. I'll let you go with whatever feels right for you. But like if you were to say, can I put whatever on my 20% interest credit card? I'll be like, no, I don't care how you feel about it. The reverse mortgage, I would really like to see like what options are you, because what happens a lot of times with money is we get one idea and we think that's the only idea. And when you work with like a coach or you talk to people like that are not, again, have no financial interest on selling you that reverse mortgage, then you have a lot more options to entertain. And I just want to make sure that you have made an informed decision and you went, okay, now I'm going to go with it. Then a reverse mortgage is totally okay.
Very good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Kara. This was really, really awesome information. I definitely took a lot away from it. Hopefully everybody else did as well. And like we said, we'll send out the slides to everybody. Since this was recorded, I just need to do some edits to it, but then we'll send the recording out as well. And we'll also post it on Silverbridge's YouTube page. So you can always come back and reference this. And then it sounds, Kara, like you're okay if people send you an email if they have further
Absolutely.
questions. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much. We really appreciate your time and expertise in this. And yeah,
so
we'll let
welcome.
everybody head off.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching this summer speaker series. If you would like to tune in to future presentations or connect with this speaker or Silverbridge CPAs, please visit us online at silverbridgecpas.com.